This episode of the Divorce Club Aftermath is brought to you by Rano. Phones and laptops are on auction every Mondays and Thursdays.
You've been already told. You can never understand. These are spiritual matters.
For but the sands of times will always change. I would rather love 1,000,000 times and have my heart broken each time than live forever with an empty heart. That's a message from one of our former Divorce Club features. And so glad you could join us today for the season finale of the Divorce Club Aftermath. And it's been a very chaotic season, yeah? The mess, the drama, it's been very interesting. And unfortunately, we have to come to the end of this season. But as we come to the end of it, we're gonna go off with a bang. And so to feature on the show today for the very first time, I have an interesting panel. But before I get to introduce them, I would like to remind you that the Divorce Club reunion is coming on the 10th of December. So make sure you do sign up on supernova.com to make sure that you watch what's coming your way. Today is going to be hot. And joining me in the studio for the first time, the lovely Vicky Malo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm humbled.
You're humbled?
Yes.
Hey, I'm excited to have you. Real Talk with Vicky Malo. That's an interesting show, eh? And joining me, as usual, Love Doctor. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm just sad that it's a grand finale. So I don't know if season 2 is coming or not, but relationship issues are always there. So definitely season 2.
Well, we should have season 2, eh?
I think so.
Would you love to have season 2? If you would love to, please leave a comment in the section and let us know so I can talk to my producer and say, they want us back. You look cool, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Gee, you look fresh. I need to see your DMs. I think the show is doing you good, eh?
I think so.
And my lovely Bish.
Come on.
I missed you last week.
Oh, come on. I missed you. I was out of the country representing Zambia.
Okay.
Bish Kuchalo.
Bish Kuchalo. The celebrity pastor.
You know what I'm saying?
I love your suit. I need to see you after the show.
If it's going to be a grand finale, you better go with a bang.
Look, today we have to give it the best that we got because today is the season finale.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And I just had to get Auntie Stella. I've been trying to get her on the show for a very long time, but today she made it. Saving the best for the last.
Wow,
Auntie Stella.
I'm humbled and I'm happy to be here. Talking about matters of the heart is my passion. So I'm humbled that I could make it today.
Yeah, humbled. Did you watch the last episode? The season finale of the Divorce Club, the last episode?
A bit of it.
Okay.
But my son did justice. He told me everything about it because he's a real fan. So I had a glimpse of it, but I'm good to go.
Yeah, good to go.
Sure.
I want to hear your thoughts, everyone's thoughts, because this is the season finale, and so we're going to make it very interesting and very excited. Last week, we were dealing with the interference of a mother between her daughter and her husband, and it was crazy. It was crazy. Vicky, did you watch the show?
Yes, I did. I watched it. But to be very honest, I was so surprised. Like, mother-in-law, daughter, son-in-law. And you know, when I watched it, I was so shocked. Like, the mother was just saying, I am not going anywhere. So I was like, oh, we still have such things. Like, staying with a mother-in-law in the same house, it's very difficult. But it was interesting. I watched it.
Lovely Doctor, your thoughts on the last episode of the Divorce Club?
Well, it's really crazy, and we need to teach. Like, we need to go back to the teachings where even the people that we are supposed to learn from, they're supposed to be taught. You know what I mean? Like when people are married, they have their own home. As parents, grandparents, We just need to go and visit. And even when we go to visit, we are going to encourage them to build their relationships to be healthy. And like going there and just to make the whole home so toxic.
Now, something interesting happened, and this was the third installment of this particular situation of interference with the mother-in-law. But some revelations came about to say that Isabel's mother was actually a sugar mommy 16 years ago. Now, before we get into talk about the other things, we always talk about sugar daddies and blessers from the men's side. Now, she was a female blesser. These things are happening in society.
Well, we're dealing with that, and to be able to ignore this is to put a head into the sand like an ostrich. It is actually happening. And what I've realized, being in my position, is that men have become very busy trying to win stuff for the family, and yet those women in their homes become lonely. That is not to justify that situation. But if a man is watching here, you cannot be able to be too busy trying to win the world and bring resources to the woman because she's lonely in her home, and it's making these women vulnerable. So it's a warning. It is happening. It is happening. Wake up and smell the coffee. Your wife needs your attention, your company, and your presence.
But come on, Bish, look at this. She was well-to-do. She was actually sponsoring Isabel's husband when he was back in school. And is it a normal thing, like women going out there to look for young guys to sleep with in exchange for groceries? I mean, the same way it happens with blessers, men.
Exactly. We have actually a lot of bentens. We call them bentens.
Yes.
Benten, yes, they are bentens. They are there. They are out there, the bentens, and mostly when you look at these bentens, they are interested in the money, just like we saw in that clip. What they want is the money.
Yes.
And you know, with the women, the older women, they have the experience. They know how to spoil a young man.
Yes.
They'll give them the money. They'll give them a beautiful car.
Yes.
I mean, Mampanga. Wakapanga ka benten. Wakapanga panga. Then when this benten, before this, with time, this benten realizes, what am I doing? Sadly, these bentens, most of them don't have a direction. Most of them do not have a proper vision.
Yes.
They don't really know what they want to achieve in life. So this cougar woman who drive this benten, do everything for him and spoil him. But at the end of the day, the ending is usually terrible.
Exactly.
The ending is bad. Whenever you're dealing with a benten, trust me, the ending is bad. Because the other thing, like to the older women, what they need to know with the bentens, actually they have no secret there. And they'll reveal everything that's the thing with the bentens. But unfortunately, the older women don't realize this because the bentens will tell their friends, they'll tell their peers how good it is to do with this big mama, how good it is to give them money, you know, that kind of a thing, and how good it is to be spoiled by this big mama. But at the end of the day, this same benten will go and find a certain young lady of his age. And I mean, as we are only humans, as a cougar, when you discover that your benten is going out with somebody else, you will like that. You will not like it. So usually the ending is terrible. So it's a caution to those who are in benten kind of drama.
But okay, should the way society has normalized blessers, older men, sugar daddies with young ladies. Okay, I'll say normalized because it's a known thing.
Yes.
You can see a young lady dropping out of a Hilux or of a Benz. And you know, I mean, some young ladies even take pride in it. Should young men start taking pride in this, in having a cougar, in being a benten?
I mean, there's nothing to be proud of. As far as I'm concerned, really, there's nothing to be proud of because, like Anstella has mentioned, the ending is very bad. So sometimes this same sugar mommy is in as much as she's married and she's not taking the love, the attention that she deserves from the husband, and then they tend to fall in love with these bentens. They actually fall in love, and that's the reason why
they fall in love.
Yes, and that's the reason why once the benten finds another person,
do they?
Yes,
yes.
I saw some sugar mommy, I think along Katondo Street. She came with her friends, grabbed some benten's vehicle because she's the one who bought it.
Oh,
and
wow.
she had stories that this benten is all over now enjoying with other girls. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So she came, grabbed the vehicle, you know, because she is in love. Because if you're not in love and we are doing all these things, you don't even care whether someone does anything bad or not. But because you are in love, you really care, and you wouldn't want to hear that this Pente now is enjoying himself with other people at the expense of your monies and all these things that you shower the Benten. You know, so it's not something that people should be proud of. Even the issue of blessers, it's just that most girls love good things. You know,
But even
most girls, even guys.
I said most girls.
even guys love, and you know, another thing is Bentenza. They are good. They are like romantic. They are good, and they have the energy. They invest. They know exactly, just like a young girl. You know, you have this sugar daddy. You know what he wants. He loves this. He loves that. Being romantic. You every day in the morning you're telling him good morning. Believe you me, Bentens are they are the most
so
romantic people I've. Believe you me, I know what I'm talking about.
Ricky Maro, is that a confession? We'll talk after the studio.
When last did you buy flowers for your madam? Like, you know, when you're married like this. But Bentens,
They don't like them.
they would spoil you. The money that
But
you
do they
give
spoil
them.
you with? Oh, they spoil you with
The
your
money
money.
that you give them, the
Okay.
money that you give them, you buy a flower and like this.
They're investing.
In the morning, you are waking up, you're finding good morning, Big Marlo. You know, he's sending you his chest. You know, Bentens are just romantic, and for us women, we just fall. Believe you me, a romantic guy, we fall. We just go like, you know, I've got a 200,000. Here's a 50 for you. You know, pocket money. And we fall in love. They fall in love like falling in love. And even forgetting their husbands at home. Just like what Bish said, like we women, like you men should start also concentrating and also looking at what we women want. You'll find the Benten will be there. What are you having for lunch? Then my husband won't even think of asking me to say exactly like sugar daddies. Young girl is busy.
Man, I'm on your corner, right? Guys, let's go back and turn to our women, all right? Did you hear? Energy, romance.
Yes, romance.
Good mornings. Oh, my word.
And deal with those potty bellies, huh?
This is really a season finale.
Bish.
Suck it in.
Oh my God. Okay, but here's the thing, right? Now, let's look at Susie's case. He was in school, and it's like Isabel's mother used to buy him groceries and pay for his school fees because she brought it out. So, not to justify his situation, it's past already. But should he have opened up to his wife when he met her and say, "Your mother was my sugar mommy"?
On that one, I feel that's the reason why they say the foundation of a relationship matters, huh? And I feel for me like secrets are not needed. Even if I've aborted 20 times before I met you, it's better I come to you, I tell you the truth to say, you know what, I love you so much, but you know I used to date married men, I had miscarriages, or maybe I had abortions. Are you going to love me like that? I feel he would have told the wife the truth. For me, that's what I'm feeling. He would have just told the wife the truth to say, you know, I love you so much. Because when I watched, the guy was just saying, I love you. I love my wife, but I don't want your mother to be here. But I love you. So I feel, imagine if he told the wife the truth. I feel we should have, as women, we've got soft hearts, should have understood, and they've had, maybe they would have even had a meeting to talk about it. And also understand and saying, this is what I'm getting into. So I feel he would have told the wife the truth.
I want to look at this right now because I can feel he's getting loaded. Should when couples meet, all right, should they avail their past history?
In fact, when I deal with marriage counseling, not only do I deal primarily with the definition of marriage, what marriage is not, I go into what marriage constitutes. And one of the items I put across is literally naked and not ashamed. Marriage sets up that environment where two people have nothing to hide between the two of them. So naked and not ashamed. And so if you ask me that particular question, the lady should have been told the truth. But I'll even go further. When that young man saw that that's her mother-in-law, that marriage should have been aborted immediately. Yes. The mother is already carrying
But she loves the
her
woman.
child.
No, look at this. He didn't know that was his child, first of all. But then he meets a girl that he thinks is the girl of his dreams. Should he have? You think?
You've been with the mother-in-law that way? No. In fact, for the sake of that family, he shouldn't. My position is he shouldn't even have told that particular lady. He should have just mission aborted, mission abandoned.
I think
get out.
The problem was that, according to Suzio, they sat down with the mother-in-law and agreed to say, let's keep this a secret and it should never ever come out. So,
but here we are today.
I'm pretty sure they were consent.
Love
but
dog.
then they had to sit down and discuss.
Dog, you know how these things of my love are.
Love.
Did we not see in the set that he finds her in the kitchen? And what was he tapping?
And you see, the mother-ish. Oh my God.
And Stella, should people talk about their history when it comes to relationships, marriage? Talk about the things you did, your escapades.
It's a very complex thing altogether, and trust me, you've got to come out and tell the truth, but you've got to be systematic. You're not going to meet somebody today and tell them everything about you. There's what I call need to know. Need to know. So is there a need for you to know about me, and to what extent?
Yes.
Okay, to what extent? So of course for them they were getting married, and I think the lady deserved to know the truth, nothing but the truth. But how was he going to tell that truth? At the point when the gentleman discovered that actually this is a daughter to his previous girlfriend,
yes.
I think he had a responsibility. If he didn't have the guts, he didn't have the energy to tell this lady that this is what happened, the best he could have done was to disappear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
otherwise, he was supposed to own up and say, "You look here, I love you so very much, but I have a past which you may not like. I was involved with your mom some time back, and this thing cannot work out." And if he was not man enough, because the truth of the matter, what we need to know is that whether we like it or not, our history has got a way in which it
comes back.
Catches up.
Exactly.
It does catch up. And when it catches up, the best thing you need to do is to own up. Take responsibility. And in his case, if he was not able to own up and take responsibility, the best he needed to do was to disappear. You know, there's a good way of disappearing if you want to break a relationship. I mean, you change your phone number.
That's too much.
I mean, you can't own up. You can't own up. You can't face what is before you. So disappear. And how you disappear? I'm simply giving hints. Change your phone number. Change your residence. Change your friends. Go to another town. All those are ways in which you can
move to America.
Yes, move somewhere else, because you cannot deal with your past. But cheating yourselves that you can have a secret such as that.
No.
So
does
the size of the secret determine the need to know part?
To a large extent, and also how it backfires. The kind of secret you may have will determine how it's going to backfire. Because that kind of a secret, I mean, it's affecting almost everybody. Everybody. Certain secrets will just affect you and you alone. But secrets which will affect everybody else, I mean, you've got to be considerate.
Yes.
You've got to be real with yourself. I mean, if you know there are other people involved and other people will be affected, I think you're better off coming up and owning up and saying, I mean,
yes.
And this is
and when you look at when the secret was discovered, that they even have the child is suspicious to come from Suzio. The man, the father-in-law, he was so calm. If you look at the previous episodes,
yes.
But did you see how
the reaction?
So angry? Like he still loves the ex-wife. You know what I mean? He became so angry. So that's what and Stella is saying, that certain secrets, if they just affect you, probably you need to find ways and means of. But if you know that once this secret comes out, it will affect a lot of people. It's best just on the onset. You just said, look, I used to go out with your mom, and now you have to decide.
Yes.
I love you.
It's better.
I want you. I want to marry you. But the fact that I used to go out with your mom, it's so uncomfortable, and it's best you know. And it's up to her, because once they know at that particular stage, even if it comes out to certain people at the at some stage, it will not really affect them there and then. You know what I mean? And the effect won't be very big. But if you hide the way they hid it and then it came out, we saw the explosions.
So what do you think now? Can the relationship be fixed?
That's like impossible. That's an impossibility because even the child, the Janet, if once that
we will come to Janet, but let's talk about the relationship between Isabel.
That's an impossibility.
And
that cannot work because the fact that even if they are the two of them and they want to pretend that they really love each other and other people in the family, the father, the mother, and just aunties, and they're not part and parcel of that marriage, how is it going to work? Because each time you have problems, you can't just always rush to bish. You know what I mean? There are times that the families need to sit down and, you know, sort out
family meetings.
Yes. But if you can't
not even just
meetings,
issues. Just like come for a dinner party,
you know what I mean?
For Christmas.
And I feel like there are feelings involved. Like the mother-in-law, I feel she still loves the son-in-law because for her to even stay in that house and even deny the fact that I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere. She was even proudly saying, "Tewo, you are coming to me when kata or something like that." You know, it means she's got feelings for him as well. Because a mother-in-law, you know, since they agreed to say we'll never talk about this. If I was her, I would have just said, no, I can't stay in the same house with you guys. Rent me an apartment. You'll be bringing me food. In as much as I love my daughter. No. You know, you just can't be in the same space. You know, I don't know if these words they can use it. Sex is just difficult, you know. Whether you've had it with your ex or anything like that, even if you meet your ex, there's just that thing your body will move like, oh wow, you know, you know. So
that is one thing I would have put across. Sex is very deep.
Yes,
sex is very deep. In my field, we talk about soul ties. That literally your souls get tied.
Yes.
In African tradition and religions, in my theology, that's where we learned Munzi wako dala. Exactly. You know, literally, they actually used to say you gotta be cautious with somebody you shared an intimate relationship with. How did you share all that intimacy with suspicion of a child, and still go ahead and marry her daughter? That's a lot complicated. But the matter that Vicky Malo brings about, the sensitivity of sex. When you have had sex with somebody, there is a bond you create that we refer to as soul ties, where you need counsel and deliverance from. And so don't create so many soul ties by sleeping around with so many people. It becomes hard to be able to have this. Now they're in the same home with people he has sexual soul ties.
And when you look at Suzio, like, even the way it comes out, you just say, well, he's subdued. You know, probably because of sex.
Yes.
He is
Sleep with the mother, sleep with the daughter.
He really come out as a man. You just say, well, he has a lot of secrets. Even when you look at the first episode, you tell like, why is it not coming out?
Like
because
a man.
Of such things, you know. So secrets sometimes will just make you not to be your real you, because there are secrets that you are keeping. So you can't come out the real you, where you are supposed to come out as a man. You are the leader of that home. You need to show leadership, but there was no leadership whatsoever when you look at Susie.
But perhaps when you look at the whole scenario, and I think these are some of the things we need to do within an African society. This scenario of having mothers, parents living with their children, I think this issue, it's a cake. If the parents are able, they can fend for themselves. If they have the energy, personally, I don't advise anybody to keep their parents if the parents are well able. Keep your parents if they need you because they cannot fend for themselves. They cannot do certain things on their own. It is justifiable for you to keep them. But if they are okay, they have the energy, like the mother-in-law, she has the vibe. Why why keep her? You know, why keep her? Whether you like it or not, you will find it may not be that kind of scenario, but if you entangle yourself in such kind of a situation, you are likely to have problems. Because in a home, under normal circumstances, you will have to have certain rules, do's and don'ts. And when you come up with these boundaries, you set them. Other than setting them up, you need to verbalize them. After you verbalize them, you need to actualize them. Okay? Now, how do you enforce some of these terms and conditions when it's your mother involved? It becomes very difficult.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, if your mom wants to cook something, it might become very difficult. Mommy, they can whip you. This is your mother. I mean, you need to give her certain respect. She will feel offended and all. So it becomes difficult to enforce certain boundaries when you're dealing with your parents. And we see this scenario where this mother now goes overboard, and because of strings attached in the past, it even becomes worse. It becomes worse. The man loses the authority, God-given authority. He loses it because, to begin with, he cannot retaliate directly. Like we saw, the father, you can imagine he had to use a third party. Under normal circumstances, you don't do that. Because in your home, you must be able to deal with issues in your home.
Exactly.
He failed to deal with those issues because he lost his authority when he entangled himself with that woman previously. So all things being equal, if he was not entangled and all, he was supposed to have that authority to deal with those issues, minus involving his father-in-law who had even lost touch and all. But that in itself shows that he was helpless. And why was he helpless? Because of the skeletons in the cupboard, in his closet. He was helpless. So I think when we have these things going on and we fail to deal with them properly, we find ourselves entangled, and sometimes we are caught up in a web where we don't even know how to come out.
Well, the principal rule in what she has mentioned, and if you're watching this, listen, the fact that your husband doesn't seem to be strong on the mother-in-law in your home does not necessarily mean it's this situation. All right?
I think we need to put that disclaimer before we have, because we might have content for season 2.
It's not necessarily this situation, but I wanted to put the rule that I give to every couple that I counsel. I say, in terms of in-laws, have the best possible relationship with in-laws without allowing them to undermine your marriage. I say that again. Have the best possible relationship with your in-laws without allowing them to undermine your marriage. Like she says, it's not necessary for you to be in the same space with your mother-in-law. You need to be able to say, like one other said, find her a place where you would support her from.
Exactly.
You can only have her if she's invalid, if she is lame, she is sick, and you have to, take care of her. But if she is whole and well, like somebody says, she's got whole vibe, like she says.
What about, I think this is just a question just to, I think we spoke about it last week, but I think I'd love to hear your thoughts. What about those who are in their children's space emotionally? Because there are some people who are there physically, but is it possible for a mother-in-law to be, or even a father-in-law, to be in that child's space emotionally?
It's very possible. And that is why, like Love Doctor says, they both need counseling. I'm going to need a lot of counseling when I let go of my daughters. They follow this religiously. When I walk them on the aisle, I'll need a lot of towels, because I'm going to cry a lot. Those who follow me knows that my kids are very closely needed with me. But watch this. It is possible for a father to be so closely involved that it's uncomfortable emotionally. You may not actually be there physically, but you're there. No, so shall a man live. Until you leave, there's no cleaving. And if there's no cleaving, there's no oneness. There must be an emotional leaving, physical leaving, and so on and so forth. So that mother-in-law has no business being there. So shall a man leave his mother and father, be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. If there's no leaving, there's no cleaving. If there's no cleaving, there's no oneness. Do you hear me, Vicky Malo?
Yes, I do.
You have to have everybody leave.
Exactly.
The in-laws leave. Grandfathers, grandmothers,
They have to
fathers,
leave.
and mothers leave. I had to let you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I had to
Exactly.
let my sisters know. Some of the most hard people to leave are mothers and sisters.
Exactly.
I had to
And
tell-
nieces.
and nieces. And I told them when I'm marrying a beautiful Bridget Jane, it's our space. We're leaving, and I'm so left with you guys that if you need anything, talk to her, and she will be able to let me know, and she will help you even before I get there. I'm close to my in-laws myself, my mother-in-law, my brothers and sisters-in-law. When they need anything, they talk to me, and I'm of help there because we practice leaving.
Yes.
That
But
mother-in-law
sadly-
shouldn't be there.
Sadly, there are very few men out there who understand that principle.
Exactly.
And this is the reason why we have in homes ladies who say, he is my brother. Blood is thicker than water. And do you know what? I have a saying for that one.
Exactly.
He is my brother. Blood is thicker than what? I tell them, wow, there's something that is thicker than blood.
Exactly.
Yes.
Do you get that?
I got it. I'm gonna let him ask. What is thicker than that?
I don't think. Look, this is there's viewers that are young.
I'm sure they've got it. We don't have to go. There's something.
But what I also realized with Suzio, so the mother-in-law emphasized, I used to buy groceries for you, I used to do this for you, I used to give you. And then the wife also mentioned, say, you need to leave my home, you need to leave my house, because I'm the one who does everything, I'm the one who pays rentals. So I think the effect also is that when young men start going out with sugar mummies and they depend on them, the responsibility that you need to have as a man usually runs away from you.
Yes.
And even when you want to settle down with another, a wife of your age, you'd still want to go to someone who is able,
Exactly.
who is able to look after you,
your
you know,
kids.
and your authority is gone. Your authority is
something
gone as a man.
That's
Vicky is itching
that's
to say
deep.
something. That's exactly. but it's true.
Okay,
I know what I'm talking about. I hear you.
Before we take a break, I want to hear from Vicky Malo because
No.
She's itching. No, she shouldn't say nothing.
okay, we're gonna carry, but we're gonna take a short break. But I want to before we take the break, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Janet is Suzio's daughter?
Perhaps. There's every. I mean, if you sleep with somebody, probably.
Do you think she's pulling a trump card on them? Like
I think she's pulling a trump card because she wants to put this fire around,
Yes.
secure her position and things like that. I don't trust much.
There are emotions involved here. Remember, I told you this woman is in love with the son-in-law. Believe you me, she is, and she still wants him. She wants the son-in-law back. I'm talking as a woman. I know what I'm
You're
talking
speaking
about.
for women.
Yes, for women. She's got feelings. So even this thing of mwana over, that's your child or something, like the way she was saying, I think that's not even the father, but she wants the guy.
okay.
Given an opportunity, things would have even been happening without even the daughter knowing. Because if you remember, he said you came in our toilet bathroom, with a night dress or whatever. It's too short to say, nikachilimo, you know? Nichilimo
Fire.
Fire.
Fire in the name of Jesus.
Love you, doctor.
I feel the attachment that she has with Suzio, it's because of the child, and also there's a presumption or a saying of Eza Tatewa Mwana and Mukazi. So I'm pretty sure, I don't think she's just claiming. She should
think there's
know.
truth to it?
In as much as she could have been sleeping with all these young boys, she knows the father, and I'm sure she's straight, and that's the reason why probably she emphasizes staying in that home so that they just keep the whole family together, and so I'm pretty sure Janet should be Suzio's daughter.
We're gonna take a short break. What are your thoughts? Is Janet Suzio's daughter? And if it is so, what should Suzio do? The DNA results will be out as the first episode of the Divorce Club reunion. So see you after the break.
Okay? I will get you. I'm going to get you.
Accept you've been already told. Like You can never understand. These are spiritual matters.
Wait. You were sleeping with your mother-in-law.
Yes.
Welcome back. You are watching the season finale of the Divorce Club Aftermath, and it's crazy in here. I have Vicky Malo, Bish Eddie, Aunt Stella, and Lovewood Doctor. And now we are waiting for Susie's results, DNA results, to determine whether Janet is his daughter or not. And now these results will be given out in the Divorce Club reunion, which is airing on the 10th of December. So make sure you subscribe to Supernova so you can watch and stay tuned to it. So if Janet turns out to be Susie's daughter, what should Isabel do? Should she leave or should she stay and become her half-sister's stepmother?
It even becomes you see how complicated.
Half-sister
It's
stepmother.
already complicated in even what to
And
call it.
co-mother to her mother.
It's a complex thing, and it's difficult. It's a really difficult situation, and being a woman in such kind of a scenario, if she chooses to stay in that marriage, there will come a time when she's having those intimate moments, typical of women. Instead of her enjoying, then she'll start thinking, oh my goodness, the way I'm feeling, so this is how my mother used to feel. And in that moment, she will not, the enjoyment is cut short. And now for how long will she live like that? And so if I were to give her any advice, I think for her well-being, for her mental health, for her stability, I think the best would be to leave and see how best they can pick up the pieces from there. But holding on to that marriage, I think it will not do her any good. That is my opinion. It will not do her any good, in as much as she might want to hold on to it, and it might not do her any good. Yes, we may talk about forgiveness, but the bishop is here. The bishop is here. He can talk about forgiveness, but certain things, in as much as you can forgive, you cannot forget. Okay, you may choose to let go. But to what extent do you let go of certain emotions, certain feelings and all? So it's quite a complex scenario.
Bish?
My word is that marriage should not have happened in the first place. The moment he discovered the mother-in-law is actually the sugar mommy he had, at that point, he should have withdrawn and disappeared, as we said earlier. But in this particular situation, forgiveness should take place. Forgiveness sometimes is not for the good of the person you are going to forgive. Forgiveness is actually for yourself. So when we discuss forgiveness, we're talking even people that have hurt you. For you to move on in life, you forgive them. You actually release them. And so she's going to be hurting because of understanding, like she puts it. It must be very painful to think, so this is what my mother used to feel. I mean, that's just an abomination in the first place, and though it happened before they got married, it's going to be thinking like it's an incest situation. And in fact, your question begs to be answered. So if this child is his, then that child is born out of incest, and it's a lot complicated. His family needs to forgive each other, but staying together as a family in this situation is going to be very, very hard.
Vicky, would you have stayed in such a marriage?
No, I can't at all. No. She just has to leave. You know why I'm saying she has to leave? It's because, believe you me, guys, it's not possible. You cannot just be thinking all the time, oh, my husband is coming, I want to cook for my husband. And then remember what the mother said? Like she cooks for. And then now, this one, what does my daughter do for you? She doesn't do anything for you. I'm the one who cooks.
Start competing with your own mother.
And I heard when she was saying that. And then, she'd be thinking to say, I cook fisashi for my husband, and then my mom would even cook for him. Probably, maybe my mom even knows what he likes. When she was a sugar mommy in school, maybe she would cook these to my things. So definitely, she won't even be free. It can't work. For me, no, it can't. She just has to leave and forget.
What about Janet, the 16-year-old daughter? where should she go? Should she go with her father? Should Suzo turn out to be her father? Should she go on with him, or should she stay with the mother and her half-sister?
On that part, it doesn't matter where she chooses to whom to go with and all. But at the end of the day, Suzo has the responsibility to play the father role. It doesn't matter the circumstances the child has come. If you are the father, you have a duty.
Yes.
You have the responsibility.
Yeah.
So it will not matter whether the child decides to live with Suzo or decides to go with the mother or the sister. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, he needs to honor and be the father in the life of that girl. Because he's now a father. So as a father, it's not just his inner child that daddy. He must take up the role of being a father, regardless of the circumstances. It will not be easy, but he has a duty.
But it looks like he does financially is not stable because the wife said, I pay rentals. So meaning the guy is used being kept by women. The mother-in-law was keeping him at school and whatever. So meaning even the wife, the wife, I think she mentioned something like, you don't pay rentals. I'm the one who even pays rentals. I keep you.
Yeah, and which is sad. But at the end of the day, you may not have the money, you may not have anything, but even just the emotional support. And even just being there as a father. And children need their father. Whether you have the material things to give them or not. There's a lot more that I think fathers are here.
Okay. But I agree with you 90%. I'm still going to take away my 10%.
Okay. And what are your reasons?
The reasons is in my position, I've gotten to a place where it's going to be very complicated for the child when the father is present and told exactly. Do you know that there are children who have not been told who their fathers are? That's because
which is injustice.
It's injustice. But then there is strange, complicated situations where this was fathered by a brother. This was fathered by a close cousin. So parents have in the past been able to black out with the father.
And personally, on that one, if people are hearing out there, it doesn't matter the circumstances. It can be your brother. I mean, it's inhuman. Do you know that some children end up being drug addicts?
Because they've been looking for
yes,
who the father is.
I mean, every child out there deserves to know who their parents are, regardless of who fathered them. So the idea of shielding, trying to hide correct information in the name of protecting.
Did you know what they used to do? They'll kill the guy even if he's alive.
Shame.
No, not physically. They'll just he had died.
And
for the sanity of the child.
This blame should be put on women. Because in most
let's
look at this sugar. Let us look at listen.
That's of blaming women around.
Let's
but in this situation of the
let us look at this sugar mommy who fell pregnant and never told Suzo that this is your pregnancy. Of course, the husband knew that wasn't his, right? And then at this particular time, they divorce. And this sugar mommy still keeps the secret that the child she still forced it to say that the man just ran away, but that's your father. When she knew that the real father is not the man.
And you know what?
Who is supposed to be blamed?
And you know that one. Me, I send it back to the men. You men out there. The moment you take off your trousers and sleep with a woman, know that there's every probability of you being a father at that particular moment.
Yes.
So the idea of saying
are you going to So here is a sugar mommy sleeping with 6 men.
Thank God for DNA.
Yes. Here's a sugar mommy sleeping with 6 men. Right? Sleeping with 6 men. And they are going to tell all the 6 men, this is your child.
And I like what you said earlier on. You know what is interesting about this whole thing? A woman knows who the father is. It's in very rare circumstances
and
where
she should say it there and then, not you wait for 16 years, then you say, Suzo, this is your child.
And men also should learn to zip up.
Yes. I agree with you.
We agree. But when you fall pregnant, make sure you inform the father to say, this mean by
on that one, I agree with you. I agree with you. Every man deserves to know when they found themselves in that kind of a scenario. They deserve to know if they are responsible of that pregnancy. That one they need to know. And even the women also, we may blame the men, even the women also. The idea of keeping it yourself, say for whatever reasons you may have, that I'm not going to reveal who the father is, even the child out here, like Bish had said, enough, and it's wrong. For me, my heart bleeds. It's really wrong to hide such kind of information because you don't want the child to know. No, the child deserves to know.
Yes.
Regardless of the circumstance, and even the person who is responsible, even if it's like a benteni or whatever, if you know this is the guy who is responsible, I think as women, let's just be fair.
Yes.
Because
Let's inform the people who are responsible.
As men, we are informed. This is your pregnancy. Without that information,
you are in
so how are we going to be blamed
You
if
are
someone didn't
informed.
tell us?
So learn to take precautions.
Another thing
You don't want to.
You are informed this is your pregnancy. Wabola wakana.
Men, stay away. Stay away.
Imagine-
Stay away, right?
Yes, yes.
But that's what men usually do. They say no. Because they
Bakana
don't
because
take
was
responsibility.
going to 26 guy. Why atamwingire kuvomera? DNA.
Why have you chosen one boy of the 6?
And you know, there's always a reason. You may ask that question, say, why choose one? Women will have a reason why they will choose one particular one.
But it's always a justified reason.
Sometimes, not always.
Like in this situation, we don't know whether, the DNA results are coming out. But we don't know whether she's saying it because of it's hot.
In this particular scenario, it's quite complex, but I'll tell you what.
And usually,
some women have ended up pointing at a different guy for different reasons. Sometimes women look at stability. Nkamuuza ujati ndiye wamena.
Why unavomera ugana naye?
Anavomera naye vya kuvula trousers.
So you're telling us there are different reasons. It would not just be because it's responsible, but stability.
The issues to do with
makes sense.
Stability, even the family. Those are things that people consider. They're like, that family looks stable. That family loves family. They love children. And if I said that guy is responsible, my child will be well taken care of. And even the name. You know, some people will just point at somebody because of the name. Bish.
You know, David, it reminds me of someone. I saw some colored guy. So, but I think he liked drinking. And then someone was like, you saw him stable wakaza
you mentioned you said Bentons are usually sought for because of their physical look. What other reasons? What other reasons do women choose Bentons?
Bentons are some of the characteristics that women would go for a Benten. One, a Benten, most of the times they'll be good looking. They'll have a 6-pack. Will be very energetic and extremely romantic.
Yes.
Okay. Extremely romantic. So this Benten will go all the way. And which woman who don't want all those things? That kind of a package. 6-pack, good looking,
but
with a lot of energy.
But when choosing the father, you won't choose the Benten. You go look for the one with the pot belly who's got money.
Because the Benten won't look after the child.
The camera in my face. Men's fellowship. Let's be good looking. Let's smell good.
Yes.
Let's get romantic again. Let's tell our women, good morning.
Be a Benten even when you're 50.
Beautiful.
And the reason why
even
probably
at 50, let's be Bentons.
Yes.
Whatever they are.
Yes.
Get rid of the pot belly. Remind them of the pot belly.
Let's get rid of this pot belly. Let's go to the gym.
Go to the gym.
You know, work on our hypertension. The competition is high.
They should lose the market.
They're going for 3 hours. I'm not sure. Throw away that 3 hours. We've got stuff to do in this world. So let's just go out there. Guys, I'm part of the seniors now. At 50, I'm speaking for you.
Exactly.
Oh my word.
And you see, Coach David, because these sugar mummies go out there with their friends and they are busy marketing these Bentons, you know, so you find out. Pesa check it out, you know, so and then these Bentons now invest in themselves to make sure that they.
Is it a big market?
You forgot
Very
to
big.
tell them at 50. You should also learn how to kiss in the neck. You know, you must
on the forehead.
You should tell them that as well.
Honey, I'm coming home. Give me your neck and your forehead. Guys, when trouble Ben 10 on one page, we'll have a men's conference very soon.
We are supposed to be speaking against these things, not advocating for them.
Oh yes, that's the point.
Bentes on rampage.
All right, unfortunately, we have to come to the end of the show. This has been the season finale, and it's been hot in here. Yeah. But before we go, Aunt Stella, your last words to the family. What should they do now?
Well,
holistically as a family, for Suzio, for Isabel, for the mother and the father who showed up on the show.
As a family, it's high time that you get sober, remove all the emotions. Being quick to anger will not resolve the issues. So they need to be sober-minded. As a family, they need to look at all angles, look at the pros and cons, regardless of what they will decide to do as a family. They need to be able to look at the pros and the cons. And at the end of the day, let them choose what will suit them as a family. But they need to be sober-minded and remove the emotions. You cannot resolve anything amicably when you are angry. So they need to sober up and resolve this matter. Otherwise, it's quite a complex matter.
It's complex, yeah.
Very complex.
Bish?
Come to church. The whole family needs counseling. Whether you stay together or go apart is another discussion for another day. But you will need an experience with the Lord Jesus Christ. You will need Jesus in your heart. I could see that you're injured. I could see that they are hurt in many ways. And there's too many people that are hurt. Looking at the man, the husband of the mother-in-law, even if they are apart, you could see how injured and broken he is. So as a pastor on this set, I can only say, get some counseling, all right? Whether it is just secular counseling, but I would recommend you come to church because each one of you need healing on your own, and then decisions of what happens to the family can come afterwards. I can wait for that DNA test and find out what happens in the aftermath.
Doctor.
Well, I think parents, more especially mothers, should really play a pivotal role in trying to help young people in building their healthy relationships. In this case, she needs to kneel down and apologize. She needs to apologize to the daughter. She needs to apologize to the former husband. She needs to apologize because at that particular time when this Suzio guy had to discuss with her to say, let's hide this, she should have taken the responsibility of a parent and say, well, I wouldn't want us to hide this. The best that can happen is that we reveal this secret, and then so that it remains up to her to decide to take you on or not, But she played a role of a teenager, so to say, where she also agreed to hide that. And if at all, in just that moment, she played the role of a parent, she would have sorted out all these issues. So it starts with her. She needs to make sure that she asks for forgiveness. And then once they heal from there, then they can move to counseling, so that in as much as marriage may not be there, but they should remain family, because they have to remain family. They still need to depend on each other. There's a child that needs both the mother and the father and the sister, and the grandfather, so to say, or the uncle. Because in as much as the 16-year-old man is no longer, 16-year-old marriage man is no longer in their family, I'm pretty sure for him to have even managed to come and try to sort out this issue, he's still needed in that family. So for Janet to have respect for all these people, they need to ask for forgiveness and heal.
Vicky Mala.
For me, looking at what we talked about father figure and thing, I pray for the lady. What's her name again? The daughter.
Janet.
Not the small one, the older one.
The married one?
The married
Isabel.
one. I pray for Isabel. They should have a bond with the father. Because you remember Isabel was saying for 16 years, the father hasn't been there for her. So I pray that they should have bond. They should get to know each other. And also, because the insults that she gave to the father, she should ask for forgiveness, because at the end of the day, whether the man wasn't there in her life, he's still the father. So that's the only prayer that I pray, that they should have a bond with the dad. I think that's all.
It's been an amazing run on the Divorce Club, but unfortunately we have to come to the end of the show. Will there be season 2? We are yet to find out. But as we wait to find out, look forward for the results for Suzio's DNA test, which will be showing on as the first episode of the Divorce Club reunion, airing on the 10th of December, exclusively on Supernova. Thank you so much for having us. I've been your host, Coach David.
Okay, I will get you. I will get you.
Accept you've been already told. Like
You can never understand. These are spiritual matters.
This episode of the Divorce Club Aftermath is brought to you by Rano.